Jack was a space explorer. He loved traveling through the stars and visiting new places in the universe. His ship was his home. It was small but strong, and it helped him fly far from Earth. One day, Jack was flying his ship near a quiet part of space. This place had very few people and very little light. It was calm and peaceful, but also a little lonely. Suddenly, his ship started to shake. Jack felt the controls get hard to use. He looked at the instruments on the dashboard and saw warning lights flashing everywhere. Something was wrong with the engine. Jack tried to fix it, but nothing worked. The ship was losing power fast. He knew he had to find a place to land before. The ship stopped working completely. After some searching, Jack saw a small planet below him. It was not on any map he had seen before. The planet looked strange, but safe enough to land on. Slowly, Jack brought his ship down to the surface. The landing was rough, but he was glad to be on solid ground. The planet was different from any other place Jack had visited. The sky was a soft purple color, and the plants looked very unusual. Tall, thin trees with glowing leaves stood all around. The air was fresh, and a gentle wind blew softly. Jack felt a mix of excitement and worry. He needed to fix his ship, but he had no idea how to do it here. Jack got out of his ship and looked around. He took his tools with him and started walking, to find help or anything that could repair the engine. As he walked, he heard small sounds behind the bushes. He stopped and waited, watching carefully. Suddenly, a small figure appeared. It was a girl, but she was very tiny, only about 4 feet tall. Her skin was light green, and her eyes were big and bright. She wore simple clothes made from soft fabric that shined slightly in the purple light. Jack was surprised to see someone so small and different. The girl looked at Jack with curiosity but did not seem scared. She spoke softly in a language Jack did not understand at first. But then she smiled and said some words in English. "Hello? Are you hurt? Can I help?" Jack was amazed. He didn't expect to meet anyone here, let alone someone who spoke his language. He smiled back and said, "I'm okay. My ship is broken. I need help to fix it." The girl nodded and motioned for Jack to follow her. She moved quickly and lightly through the strange plants. Jack followed, hoping she knew what she was doing. They came to a small village hidden in a forest. The houses were shaped like mushrooms and glowed softly. There were other tiny aliens walking around, but they all stopped to look at Jack. He felt like a giant among them. The girl led Jack to a workshop filled with strange tools and machines. She called it a repair place. Jack looked at the tools carefully. They were different from the ones he used, but he could see the same ideas behind them. The girl introduced herself as Lyra. She explained that she loved fixing machines and learning about new technology. Jack was impressed. Lyra was not just small, she was smart and brave. Jack showed Lyra his ship and told her what happened. She looked closely at the engine and started working without hesitation. Jack helped by handing her tools and watching carefully. Lyra used her small hands quickly and skillfully. She worked in a way Jack had never seen before. As the sun began to set, Jack realized he was enjoying Lyra's company. She was different from anyone he had met in his travels. She was kind, curious, and full of energy. Jack started to think, maybe this unexpected meeting was a good thing. The repair was difficult, but Lyra didn't give up. She worked late into the night, using light from glowing plants and tiny lamps. Jack told stories about his journeys, and Lyra listened with wide eyes. Sometimes she laughed at his jokes, making Jack smile. By the time the stars appeared in the sky, the engine was starting to work again. Jack tested the controls, feeling hope for the first time in hours. He knew he could leave the planet soon. But something inside him made him want to stay a little longer. Before Jack went to sleep, he asked Lyra why she helped him. She looked at him with a serious face and said, "You are not like others. You are kind. I want to help you because you are a friend." Jack felt warmth in his heart. He had traveled many places, met many people, but no one had ever said that to him before. He realized that this small alien girl was not just fixing his ship, she was fixing something inside him too. That night, Jack lay outside his ship looking at the stars with Lyra nearby. The universe was big and full of wonders, but he had found a small light on this quiet planet. A new adventure was just beginning, and he was ready to see where it would lead. After the first night on the strange planet, Jack and Lyra grew closer. Every morning, Lyra would come to the ship with a bright smile and new tools. Jack was still amazed at how small she was, but how quickly she moved around the ship, fixing things with care and skill. Lyra showed Jack many things about her planet. She told him how the people here lived simply, in harmony with nature and technology. The glowing plants were not just for light, they helped power many machines. Jack listened carefully and asked many questions. He wanted to understand her world. Jack also shared stories about his travels through space. He told Lyra about the planets he had seen, the storms he had flown through, and the friends he had made along the way. Lyra's eyes grew wide with wonder. She loved hearing about new places, and she wished she could visit them one day. Each day, the repairs on Jack's ship slowly progressed. The engine was still broken in some parts, but Lyra never gave up. She was determined to help Jack get back to the stars. Jack admired her strength and dedication. She was small but very brave. While working, they discovered they could understand each other better than before. Lyra's English was not perfect, but she spoke with kindness and laughter. Jack helped her with new words, and she taught him some, of her language too. They shared more than just words. They shared smiles, stories, and quiet moments. One afternoon, as Lyra checked the wiring inside the ship, Jack noticed a small scar on her arm. It was faint, but visible. He asked gently where she got it. Lyra looked down and said softly, "I fell when I was little. It hurt, but I am okay now." Jack smiled and said, "We all have scars. They show we have been strong." Lyra looked up at him, her eyes shining with trust. Jack realized that she was not just a skilled mechanic. She had a heart full of hope and courage. The planet around them seemed alive with magic. At night, the glowing trees made the sky look like a dream. Jack and Lyra would sit by a small fire and watch the stars together. Lyra told Jack about her people's stories, tales of brave explorers and peaceful heroes who traveled across the galaxy. Jack felt peaceful. For a long time, he had been alone in space, searching for meaning and connection. Now, with Lyra by his side, he felt something new, hope. One day, as they worked on the engine, a sudden storm appeared. Dark clouds covered the sky and strong winds shook the ship. Jack and Lyra rushed inside to protect themselves. The storm was fierce and loud, but inside the ship, they felt safe together. After the storm passed, they looked outside and saw the planet had changed. Some plants were bent, and the ground was wet. Lyra sighed. "Storms happen here sometimes. They are part of life." Jack nodded, understanding that life, even on this strange planet, had its challenges. But with Lyra's calm presence, he felt ready to face anything. As the days passed, the repairs neared completion. Jack tested the engine, and it hummed quietly. The ship was almost ready to fly again, but Jack didn't want to leave just yet. He enjoyed Lyra's company and the peaceful planet. One evening, as the sun set in beautiful colors, Lyra looked at Jack and said quietly, "Why do you want to leave? Stay a little longer. This is your home now." Jack was surprised by her words. He had never thought of any place as home, only as a stop on his journey. But looking at Lyra's hopeful face, he wondered if she was right. He smiled and said, "Maybe you are right. Maybe I need to find a place to belong. Lyra's smile grew even brighter. She took Jack's hand in hers, small but strong. Jack felt warmth spread inside him. They spent the night talking about dreams. Lyra dreamed of seeing new stars and meeting new friends. Jack dreamed of finding a home and someone to share it with. The bond between them grew deeper. Jack realized that Lyra was more than just a helper. She was becoming a true friend, someone who understood him and cared for him. The next morning, Jack promised Lyra that they would travel together. He would take her to new places beyond this quiet planet. And Lyra promised to help Jack fix his ship completely so they could leave as partners. Together, they worked with new energy and hope. Jack felt lucky to have met such a special alien girl. He knew their adventure was just beginning, and with Lyra by his side, the universe felt full of possibilities. Jack felt a strange feeling in his heart as he prepared to leave the planet. The ship was almost ready, and the stars beyond were calling him home. But Lyra's words stayed with him. Stay a little longer. For the first time in a long time, Jack was not sure where he truly belonged. He looked at Lyra, small and brave, and wondered if maybe his journey was about to change. Lyra was quiet but hopeful. She knew her world was small and peaceful, but she dreamed of seeing the vast universe. She wanted to be with Jack because he had opened a new door for her, a door to adventures she had only imagined in stories. Her heart beat fast whenever. She thought of traveling through the stars with him. Jack sat by the ship's window and thought about his lonely years in space. He had met many people, but none had touched his life like Lyra. She was not just a friend who fixed his ship. She was someone who made him feel alive again. The more he thought about it, the clearer it became. He didn't want to leave without her. One evening, as the two of them watched the glowing plants outside, Lyra turned to Jack. "I want to go with you," she said simply. "I have no home to return to. I want to stay by your side." Jack looked at her, surprised and moved. He asked gently, "Are you sure? Space can be dangerous. It's not like this quiet planet." Lyra smiled bravely. "I am sure. I want to see the stars. I want to learn. I want to be with you." Jack's heart was full. He reached out and took her hand. It was small and warm, but it gave him strength. He knew this was the start of something new. The next day, Jack helped Lyra pack a small bag with essentials for their journey. She was nervous but excited. Together, they made plans for the future. Jack promised to teach her everything about space travel and the many wonders they would find. Before they left, Jack repaired the last part of the engine. With Lyra's help, the ship was ready to fly again. Jack felt a rush of joy as he tested the controls. The engine purred like a contented animal, ready to take them anywhere. On the day of departure, the small village gathered to say goodbye. The tiny aliens waved and wished them luck. Lyra's eyes shone with tears of happiness and sadness. She was leaving her home, but she was ready for the adventure ahead. As the ship rose into the sky, Jack looked at Lyra and smiled. He said, "We are partners now. We face the universe together." Lyra nodded, her smile bright and confident. Together, forever. The stars stretched out before them like a vast sea of light. Jack and Lyra sat side by side in the ship's cabin, ready to explore new worlds. The future was unknown, but with each other's company, it felt full of hope and promise. As they traveled through space, Jack taught Lyra how to navigate the stars, read the maps, and understand the signals. Lyra was a fast learner, eager to know everything. She asked many questions, and Jack was happy to answer. They shared meals, stories, and quiet moments. Sometimes they would look out the window and marvel at distant planets glowing softly in the darkness. Their friendship grew stronger with every passing day. But space was not always kind. They faced storms of cosmic dust and sudden blackouts. Sometimes the ship's systems would fail, and Jack and Lyra would work together to fix them. In those moments, they realized how much they depended on each other. One night, as they floated near a sparkling blue planet, Jack turned to Lyra and said, "I never thought I would find someone like you. You have changed my life." Lyra smiled and replied, "And you have changed mine. I am not just an alien girl anymore. I am your friend, your partner." Jack reached out and held her hand tightly. "I want more than that. I want you to stay with me forever." Lyra's eyes widened with surprise, then softened with happiness. "I want that too." The universe was full of wonders, but the greatest wonder for Jack and Lyra was the bond they shared. Together, they were ready to face whatever came next, knowing that their journey was only just beginning. Jack and Lyra's life in space began in a way neither of them had expected. The two of them traveled together in the small ship, learning more about each other and the universe every day. Even though Lyra was small and from a quiet planet, she quickly adapted to the busy and sometimes dangerous life of space travel. Every day was an adventure. Jack showed Lyra how to operate the ship's controls, read star maps, and communicate with other space travelers. Lyra was curious and eager to learn. She asked many questions and tried everything with enthusiasm. Jack enjoyed teaching her and was proud of how fast she understood everything. They visited many different planets, some covered in ice and snow, others full of colorful plants and strange animals. On one planet, they watched bright sunsets that painted the sky in orange and purple. On another, they saw oceans so big they seemed to go on forever. Each new place brought excitement and wonder, but life in space was not always easy. Sometimes the ship would have small problems that needed fixing. Lyra's small hands were perfect for delicate repairs, and Jack often relied on her skill and sharp mind. Together, they worked as a strong team. When the ship's engine sputtered or the lights flickered, Jack and Lyra didn't panic. They calmly fixed the problems and kept moving forward. As they traveled, Jack and Lyra shared stories from their pasts. Jack told her about his childhood on Earth and the dreams he had of flying among the stars. Lyra talked about her peaceful home, planet, and the simple joys she had known. They found comfort in each other's stories, and their friendship grew deeper. One night, while floating near a small moon, Jack looked at Lyra and realized how much she had changed his life. He felt less lonely than ever before. Lyra was not just a companion. She was family. She smiled at him and said, "We are together. We are strong." Jack nodded and said, "Yes, together we can face anything." Their days were filled with work and discovery, but also laughter and quiet moments. They played games, shared meals, and sometimes just sat together watching the stars. Lyra's laughter was like music to Jack's ears. He realized that happiness was no longer about the places he visited, but the company he kept. One day, they found a planet with a beautiful garden full of glowing flowers. Lyra was fascinated. She picked some flowers and made a small bouquet to decorate the ship. Jack watched her carefully arranging the flowers and felt grateful for these peaceful moments. But even in happiness, challenges appeared. They faced space, storms that rocked the ship and meteor showers that threatened their path. Each time, Jack and Lyra worked together to protect the ship and keep it safe. Their trust in each other grew stronger with every challenge. During one difficult storm, the ship's power faltered. The lights went out, and the controls stopped working. Jack felt a moment of fear, but Lyra stayed calm. She helped Jack find the problem and quickly fixed it. Jack looked at her with admiration and said, "You are amazing." Lyra smiled shyly and said, "We help each other. That is what matters." Their bond was not just about fixing a ship or traveling through space. It was about being there for each other no matter what. They learned that friendship and trust were the greatest strengths they had. As days turned into weeks, Jack and Lyra began to plan their future. They talked about places they wanted to visit and new adventures waiting for them. Lyra dreamed of seeing the great cities of Earth, and Jack wanted to explore distant galaxies she had never heard of. Through all their travels, one thing was clear: they wanted to stay together. The small alien girl who had fixed Jack's ship had become his closest friend, and Jack had become her family. The universe was vast and full of unknowns, but Jack and Lyra knew they could face it all as long as they had each other. Their journey was not just about exploring space. It was about building a life together, filled with hope, trust, and endless discovery. Jack and Lyra's journey through space was filled with many new experiences. Every day brought something different, sometimes challenges, sometimes wonders. But no matter what happened, they faced it together. Their friendship had grown into something very special, something that made both of them feel happy and safe. As they traveled, they learned more about each other. Jack found that Lyra's small size and gentle nature did not stop her from being brave and smart. She was always ready to help, to think quickly, and to care deeply. Lyra saw in Jack a kind heart and a strong will to protect those he cared about. Together, they were stronger than either one alone. One day, while exploring a beautiful blue planet covered in forests and rivers, they met new people. The people were friendly and curious about Jack and Lyra's ship and their travels. Jack and Lyra shared stories of their adventures and listened to the stories of these new friends. It felt good to connect with others, to feel part of something bigger. Lyra especially enjoyed seeing new faces and hearing new languages. She loved learning about different customs and ways of life. Jack was happy to see her smile so brightly. It reminded him that no matter how far from home they traveled, they could find happiness anywhere together. Sometimes Jack thought about his old life, the long, lonely days in space, the feeling of being alone in a big universe. Now, with Lyra by his side, those days seemed far away. He had found something better than any planet or star. He had found a true friend and a partner. One quiet evening, as they watched the stars twinkle outside the ship's window, Jack took Lyra's hand. He looked into her bright eyes and said softly, "You are my home now. Wherever we go, as long as you are with me, I am not alone." Lyra smiled and squeezed his hand. "And you are my family. Together, we belong." Their words were simple, but full of meaning. They knew the universe was vast and sometimes uncertain, but their bond was a constant light in the darkness. As time passed, Jack and Lyra continued to explore new worlds. They discovered planets with strange animals, met new friends, and helped others along the way. They faced dangers, too, space storms, mechanical failures, and unknown challenges, but their trust in each other never wavered. Each challenge made them stronger. Each adventure brought them closer. One day, Jack realized that he did not just want Lyra to be his travel partner, he wanted her to be with him forever. He wanted to build a life together, to share every joy and face every difficulty. Side by side, he shared this feeling with Lyra. She looked at him with tears of happiness and said, "I want that too. I want to stay with you forever." From that day, Jack and Lyra's journey was no longer just about exploring space. It was about building a future together. They talked about where they might live, the friends they would make, and the adventures still waiting for them. They dreamed of a home where they could rest after their travels, a place filled with laughter, kindness, and love. The stars outside continued to shine, endless and bright. But for Jack and Lyra, the greatest light was the friendship and love they shared. It was a light that could never be lost, no matter where the universe took them. Their story showed that sometimes the most unexpected meetings can change everything. A small alien girl who fixed a broken ship became a lifelong companion. Two travelers from different worlds became a family. Together, Jack and Lyra were ready for whatever the future held. Their hearts were full, their spirits strong, and their journey was only just beginning.